Frank, you know me very well, obviously, and just for the benefit of everybody, I'm June Pierce, part of the Aging Well Festival, and Frank is a member of our committee, and of course many other commitments with Aging Well. Frank, we know each other socially, we know each other really over many events, but I understand that despite the work you do now with the charities and supporting us, you had a very interesting commercial life.
I certainly did.
And some of the stories that you've regaled us with over the years have been very amusing. Don't think they can be recorded now, but I'm sure there are certain things that you are able to tell us about. Can you possibly tell us how many countries you reckon you visited during your time?
I did a calculation last night, and I think 31.
31 countries?
Yep. And the one I'd travelled to more than ever was China.
Right.
And I lived in Moscow for 3 years.
Right. Well, China I visited and loved it, except I think everybody's got chicken wings for elbows, the way they get through, and I'm sure you found that.
Well, they eat chicken wings.
Oh, do they? See? We knew there was an answer. So, Russia. Can you tell me anything about Russia?
I was involved with the computer system in the telephone network there, and I had thoroughly enjoyed myself. The comment I'd pass about all the countries, I think, is that people everywhere are nice and friendly and like everywhere else. It's society and politics that make the difference.
Yes.
And that's the thing that controls them. So in a place like Russia, as an example, getting people to laugh and my sense of humour to start off with was rather difficult. But I got that in the end.
Yeah. Is there a hierarchy in Russia?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the people that ran the company I was in were all KGB. No ifs or buts about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Frightening.
I mean, the country I'd like to start with, which isn't a country in some respects, although give me a year or two, was the first place I was born in Ireland, so I was used to travelling overseas. I used to go there on holiday a lot. And the first place I went to was Scotland.
For an Irish lad, that could have been interesting.
And remember, this is 1960, so information was much less in those days. 4 of us went up there for a course. I was working for the GPO at the time on telephones, it's now BT. And 3 of us were in one lodging house and 1 of them was in another. And one day we were just talking about this other guy, and the lady who owned the house said, well, they're Catholics. And I had no idea the influence of that. And I said, well, I'm a Catholic. Well, the reaction was unbelievable.
Really?
She never spoke to me again. Our food bounced off the table. I had no concept of that at all.
I told you it would be interesting, didn't I? That is scary when you think, I mean, I got married in 62, so, you know, it's quite scary when you think that attitude existed so seriously.
Well, and just to add to that, I used to go up to Liverpool a lot because we merged with a company up there, and I was in the hotel there one July the 12th, and there was an orange parade. This was about 16 years later. So this is around about 1980, around that time. And I had no idea we had orange parades in this country at all. And they were walking down, we were all looking out of the window, and I jokingly said, as I do, I hope the guy throwing the stick in the air isn't Everton goalkeeper because he'll drop it. And the waitress next to me went berserk.
Really?
Yeah, the next day when I went into work and I commented on it, they said, well, Everton are a Catholic team.
Never knew that.
I had no idea. No idea at all.
Reds and blues, as far as I was concerned, Liverpool and Everton.
Well, maybe Birmingham and Manchester are the same, you know, we don't know.
It could be.
No, I know.
Gosh.
The next most interesting place I went to, and it was the next one, it was in 1973 about, to apartheid South Africa. And I was installing a computer system in their telephone network there. And the one comment I'd pass is today we think of apartheid South Africa as black and white, but it wasn't black and white. It was actually white and non-white. And that's the actual signs, were white and non-white.
Really?
And the top of it was a very structured society. And the top of the tree was Chinese, of the non-white were Chinese. And then it went down through various colours of various nations, I guess, to native black people at the bottom.
Really?
And in the white structure, it was as bad. And I was introduced, I gave a presentation when we first got there, and I was introduced as a principal engineer. And I had 4 technicians that were working with me to do this computer system, and they were going to maintain it. And I couldn't get these guys to talk to me. I sat them down one day, and I said, look, I've had enough of this. You can talk to me like a normal human being or not. And they said, well, you're a principal engineer, and us technicians can't talk to principal engineers unless they talk to us first. That's
Really?
I know, that's what it was like.
Goodness me.
Unbelievable.
And I wonder how much that has changed over the years.
Well, it'll have changed a lot, I'm
little
sure,
bit.
but it'll have changed a lot. But it'd take a long time to.
It
I mean,
will.
that's a fair length of time before. But the 2 things to add on to that was one of these technicians saw me talking to another guy who I'd met the first day I was there. And when I came back, he said, you shouldn't talk to him, Frank. And I said, why not? He said, he's a telephone mechanic. Us technicians don't talk to telephone mechanics.
Are you and I supposed to be talking here?
I mean, quite extraordinary.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the end comment of this apartheid system was the only international telephone was in the managing director's office of the South African Post Office. And I used to go there every evening to use his phone to phone my wife.
Of course.
Really nice guy. I used to chat to him for hours. And I mean, he was just as nice as anybody you'd ever hoped to meet. He'd tell me the story. He was born in the Cape.
Right.
He had a Cape-collared nanny, and he used to play with her children up to the age of 5. Then he went to school, and he was taught that black people weren't human. Then he joined the post office and got more senior and travelled around the world. And he realised that, this was nonsense and black people were the same. But he said, whenever I shake hands with a black person, my skin crawls and I can't stop it. Isn't that appalling?
I find that absolutely.
And that's the point. A really nice bloke.
Yeah.
This is
an
society.
educated man, a civilised man.
It's a society
and that
for
carries on society, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Quite extraordinary. I've never forgotten that story. It was a lovely bloke.
So can you give me a happy story that we can think? Because you and I normally have a really good laugh. So
A happy story.
A happy story.
Well, the happiest place. No, there's an interesting story as well, I guess. I put a new telephone system into St Vincent and the Grenadines in the Caribbean. Well, this is where Princess Margaret used to go.
Ah, right,
So
okay.
yes. Here's an interesting tale there. There's a lot of stories around this one. But this is the very latest computer telephone exchange system that we use now with BT. And so the old telephone system was all mechanical.
Right.
Now it's all electronic. And where Princess Margaret used to go, they were all multimillionaires in there.
Of course.
And they would not pay for an automatic system. They had the government phoning us. They had all sorts of people trying to get. No, they had a switchboard in there that turned off at 10 o'clock at night.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I don't know if it's still the same, but that tells you what they're like. And in that country, can't quite give you the full comment to this, but one of the engineers was driving around the island one day, and as I got out the car, a Rastafarian sitting on the corner told me where to go.
Yes,
a white imperialist pig. So there's racism everywhere.
There is.
It's the same the world over.
It is.
But there's a lot of other stories that go on forever.
Well, we're having another festival in March. Hopefully it will be a face-to-face one then. And I'm sure you and I could continue this conversation.
We could continue it, you're quite right.
Okay.
So it's nice to talk to you, Jill.
And you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.